parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy, Hannah, bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Wardy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just to hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Mashville woods, to the weird mountain gals neighborhood. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen and see weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them weird mountain gals on W-Y-R-D.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
This meeting is being recorded. Alicia, meeting's being recorded.
And then it'll be analyzed and transcribed by the AI. Your face is going to freeze like that.
That's all right. That'd be pretty good, actually. It's frozen like Granny Clampett.
That'd scare the shit out of some people, wouldn't it?
I like scaring people. It's become something that I really appreciate.
Yeah. It's one of those lost arts, isn't it?
I tell you, I had something funny happen social media. Might have been yesterday. I am very careful when I say I'm going to be doing the full moon on my page, this page, the Byron Valley page tonight. And I've gotten very, very careful about the time. So if I tell you the time, I tell you whether it's Eastern Daylight Time or Eastern Time or wherever I am. I say what time it is we're going to meet. Because inevitably, somebody looks at it and goes, do you mean 7 o'clock tonight? Well, but I don't live in Eastern Time, so what time is it for me? And it's like, I'm really, really careful. Eastern Daylight Time, if it's where we are now, in Eastern Daylight Time. So this woman, bless her heart, not only did she miss it when it happened on Monday night, but she also was like, oh, but I mean, is that 7 o'clock in the East? Because I'm in Pacific Time. So I don't, and I said, well, it happened last night, number one. And I didn't say, and number two, it says right on it, 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Do you not, you know what that means? Is that the problem with that? But she just didn't
Yeah.
look at it. And because it's easier to say, what did you mean by that? Than to look at it again and go, oh, Eastern time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I live
Yeah.
in Pacific, so I need to, y'all. I don't know.
Well,
That's
no,
probably not fair. And how nice of her to want to come and do that with us. But now it's recorded. She can do it anytime she wants to.
yeah, that's the good thing
Yeah.
about technology, but but there's always a but afterwards. So I talked to our buddy Craig today.
How's my man Craig doing?
He's doing good. He wanted me to tell you hello. I've talked to
Well,
everybody today.
you said
Everybody.
you'd been on the phone all day.
Good Lord. I had messages waiting for me when I finally got up this morning from people going, hey, give me a call. And so, you know what? If I had to stay in today, which I really had wanted to stay in, I still enjoyed the outdoors. I got out on the porch and sat there. It was the most beautiful weather that we've had all summer.
Golly, isn't it
perfect.
wonderful? It's
Yep.
cool. There's a little bit of a breeze, but not much. Ooh.
This is Matt Mitchell, that comedian that I like so much. He calls it false fall. Welcome to
Oh,
false fall. But there's lots of names for it. But this is what it always reminds me that we don't have that much longer to go. We can make it. Might have had a month of super hot weather, might make me feel like I'm wilted, like the plants are, but if I can hang on a little bit longer, that perfect weather will be here.
I was coming in yesterday, I guess after I had a long day yesterday. I was coming in from a meeting about 8 o'clock, I guess, last night. And there were two little and one kind of medium-sized grasshopper. And I went, fall, it's fall. When the grasshoppers are here, fall is here. Yay,
Yes.
yay.
It's coming. And I remember somehow now when we used to have the Flat Rock Music Festival twice a year, we'd have it on Labor Day weekend or like the weekend right before Labor Day, I guess it was. And we'd hit that cold snap almost every year for the festival. And it was, oh God, I loved it. I love this. To me, is the perfect weather. But now for those of you who don't live here, it's awful here. Just, where you're at is
fine. God
fine.
almighty.
Yeah.
Stay away. Come here, spend money, go home.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. So, but yeah, anyway, Craig said, hey, I asked him about the hurricane situation. They had a couple of them this year that was pretty iffy from North Myrtle Beach area. And he said, what? Oh, I don't even hardly notice this anymore. And I said, really? Really? And he said, nah. He says, it's just a way for the Weather Channel to make money. And I thought that is the most grown-up thing I've ever heard him say.
That is very grown up. Way to go, Craig.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with him sort of, but I think about my family being fascinated with weather.
And I love being fascinated with weather, but the idea that it can be it's gonna rain today is an excuse to say it's a weather worn day. Oh no, it's weather worn day. It's chaos. It's gonna rain. Take an umbrella.
They need to get that out. They need to be done with that weather worn day BS. I do not like it at all. It's because it's silly. It's silly.
Because we don't need to be warned about it, about the rain. It doesn't need to be a warning like it's a terrible thing that never happens. Just say, oh, by the way, who was it? One of the weather folk on WLS used to give the waiting on the bus report. What was that? Something like that.
Bill Caldwell?
So maybe it was,
Caldwell.
yeah. And it was, if your kids are going to be waiting for the bus, this is how it's going to be. Put on a sweater.
Was it? Oh, what was his name? Oh man, Gary Stevenson, I think.
Maybe I don't know. I just remember that was in the morning, that was the report. The report was
Yeah.
the bus stop report. That's what they called it.
Bus
Stop
stop.
weather report. That's what you
That's what I'm.
need. Just, if you're in a place where you can't just look out the window and go, well, it's overcast today, looks like it might rain, better take my umbrella. Then it's nice, I guess, to hear on the TV. I don't know.
Oh no.
I get so frustrated with myself that I just can't let some stuff go. Just let it go. Who cares? Who cares if it's going to be a little drip of rain and they got everybody all ratcheted up like it's going to be a damn hurricane? Okay. But then when it is a hurricane, nobody gets excited. It's like, well, it's another weather warning day where I better have the umbrella. Okay.
Well, Craig was just very blasé about it, and I think maybe I said to him, I said, now you might actually need to know these kind of things in the future. And he was like, nah. He says, I'll know if I need to. And I said, okay, let's let him go.
I kind of like that. That's a very an Appalachian way to look at it, isn't it? If I need to know, I'll know.
Yeah. I mean, I could hear my dad saying something like that, but yeah, you know what? You cannot find bus stop weather report vintage I mean, you just can't find it because there's
I
still
I may have the name wrong too.
no, that's what it was. That's what it was for sure. But that's okay. We're still lucky. I think we have a WLOS is not perfect, but
No, it is
they're
not.
pretty good, and that's about all you can hope for nowadays.
They've got some new reporters that I really like.
I haven't watched it much lately, but the ones that I have seen I do like. They're young, and they've got some women that I think do
Yeah,
a real
that
good
I
job.
like a lot. Yeah. I mean, I am never I'm just never going to be happy about whoever they choose to be the talking head because
Yeah,
they're chosen not because they're intelligent or have nice voices or because they look a certain way. They hit a demographic. And so they're
yeah,
almost always people that are it's like, oh yeah, whatever.
young and
Yeah, young and
trendy.
decent looking and they wear their clothes well, whatever. I guess I want Walter Cronkite telling me stuff. He don't have to look a certain way, he just has to be a certain way.
Me too. I want a newscast that is not partisan. I just want
Golly,
news.
when are you ever going to get one of those? I just can't
Ne-
imagine it
Never
anymore.
again. Never again. For whatever reason. And I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists that say, well, this is why the media is trying to keep you down. And it's like, I'm not saying they're not. I don't know why this happens. Well, it's been a day to talk about media too. Craig and I were talking about how and Ilsa called and we were talking about that too, about how people get manipulated into thinking certain things are sexy or desirable or whatever by the media. And it's
Yeah.
always so I would think about this and I may have to crow this out or just cut it out. Back in let's say 1980, okay? Very promiscuous time in American culture.
Yes.
And that was a time when, I think they were all about their own kinks or whatever. You would never hear somebody going, I want somebody to choke me. And it's like, that's the latest thing. It's a choking trend. They want to be choked. Now, okay, they can do that if they want. But the reason I even bring that up is because most people, had they not been told all about this, would never have thought of it and connected it to sex. And
Yeah,
if
it's a porn thing that happens in porn.
porn, let's get it. Yeah, you're right. Get the
Yeah. And you
language
know who
straight out.
rarely gets choked in porn? Men. It's women who get choked.
You see it. You do. And the public as a whole, what I've seen is that we must just really like getting manipulated and told what to do because it just happens. It's like it just happens. It's just something to observe. All these trends and people being told how to think and how to talk and stuff. They don't set out in their life to do that, but they end up doing it. And it's, and I say they, I mean, we, I'm sure I do it myself, but still.
Well, it's interesting to me last night, and y'all, before we started recording today in the pre-show, we were talking about the DNC, and I've been loving hearing some of these wonderful speeches. I loved it. Reminded me though the other night when Hillary Clinton gave that speech. It was a great speech, but she is not a great speech maker. She is just she's kind of stiff and
Pragmatic.
formal, and yeah. So I listened to it, and then I listened to it again this morning on YouTube, and it was such a good speech, but not so well. But I'm telling you, Michelle Obama last night, holy macanola, she was great. And I was so, oh, now that's a well-crafted speech, and it's spoken well. She knows exactly, her timing is impeccable.
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
it was just like textbook good. But the response of the crowd I found terribly interesting. And I've been watching that since Monday night. That it's and Joe had some wisdom on that today. I said, I'm just annoyed at the we love Joe, we love Joe, we love Kamala, 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 Hillary, uh Obama, and they just go on and on and on. And I said, it's just annoying. I mean, I, as much as anybody, am excited about their enthusiasm. Hooray. That's going to make this a lot more palatable. And it's going to make the Democrats' chance of getting past all that really much better. But people are just bag ass stupid sometimes. And Joe said it's sports. It's the sports response. So this is my team. Ooh, and I'm gonna dress up in funny outfits for my team, and I'm gonna cheer, and I'm gonna do whatever the cheerleader tells me to repeat. I'm gonna keep repeating that ad nauseum. And I hadn't even thought of it that way because I don't watch that kind of sports. But I think he's right. I think people have been carefully trained by the media that this is how you behave.
Right.
And you are over the top enthusiastic until the point of exhaustion. You will repeat a chant over and over and over until you are hoarse. And that's how you show your support and your love and your whatever else. And I was like, well, I'm kind of done with it. I really am. It's like I don't really need you to reinforce what I think, but I think they need it to reinforce what each other thinks.
And how they feel.
Yeah.
They're told to be happy, they're happy. I mean, well,
Yes.
but they have a reason at this convention to be excited and happy. And I know you're not saying they didn't.
No, I'm not. And I'm excited to see him. I'm excited myself. It's all very it's just what we needed as a nation right now.
Yeah.
But what does that say about the American people? And of course, people have been not noticing that Trump was in Asheville last week, not this week. And so people have been contacting me to say, oh, you want me to send you some sage? Oh, and his people weren't bad when they were here. They weren't bad. They looked
drove
unhappy.
bad.
They looked unhappy, like they felt bad. They looked like they were irritated by things, but I mean, I'm irritated by things too. And people were making fun of what they were wearing. Well, they're wearing, their I Love a Dictator t-shirt, but at the DNC, they're wearing some crazy crap too. So it's just what we do. And I guess it's that sports analogy. Yeah, I don't know.
It's we've fallen to new lows in the last decade or so, at least, where there's no decorum, there's no genuine talk. There's just, hey, let's try and outdo this one, or let's try and get one over on the Dems, get one over on the conservatives, get one over on the opposite
Yeah.
party.
Yeah.
It's like beat them down to submission at all costs, and don't even think about compromise.
Yeah.
And that's
And
where we're at.
honestly, in life, sometimes you got to compromise.
Well, most of
Period.
the time, that's how you get things done. And so beautiful. I want to talk about
It
weather.
is. Well, the weather has been just lovely. And coming back from Ohio on Sunday, I went through a little patch of really heavy, heavy rain, which I just get over in the right-hand lane, slow down,
Yeah.
make sure my lights are on, and my wipers are fast.
Mhm.
And once I got on 26 heading home, there was a beautiful rainbow. It was just exactly what I needed to see. Then maybe, I don't know, 10 miles farther on 26 heading home, my wheels were splashing up water behind me. And when I looked in the rearview mirror, the side mirror, there were rainbows coming off the splashing from my car, little rainbows, because of the way the light was, because it was setting. And I was just like, golly, how lucky am I? And then I got over Sam's Gap and I was in the Kingdom of Madison. And there was one last little bit of rainbow over Wolf. And it was like, dang, thanks. Thanks for the welcome home, 26.
I love Madison County still. I love to drive through it.
Me
I
too.
love it.
I wish I owned me a place out in Madison.
I know. Randy's grandmother and grandpa lived in Madison County up on the side of a mountain. And
Uh-huh.
they didn't have electricity. They didn't have indoor plumbing. They had a big giant cast iron stove. And boy, was it, what a place. The reason I say that is you could sit up there and it was so quiet.
Mhm.
And I remember towards the end of her life, his grandmother, who was a widow at that point, they moved her off the mountain because it also didn't have a road to get up there. It was, you
Yeah.
had to walk a long ways. So they moved her off the mountain and they moved her into a home, a little home that she rented right there, near Turkey, it's not, maybe Turkey Gap or something road there. And I remember we went and visited her one time and she was complaining because there were 5 cars the day before, 5 that were driving around. Why do 5 people on a Sunday? Kind of thing. She was really just kind of,
I love it.
and
What were they doing? Why didn't they have somewhere to go?
yeah, I mean, they just want to make some noise or what? And you could tell that it irritated her that that there was 5 cars. So I remember I have a reminiscing about that situation, even though I've never lived in a situation like that.
Yeah.
It feels like,
Yeah.
oh, it's that, even though I couldn't possibly miss it. Now lived it,
That's your epigenetics talking.
That's right.
Yeah, when you say that, there's a kind of a romantic tug but I'm telling you, if you live like that, that's all you do is you grow a garden, you cook, you clean minimally, and you preserve food. So your whole life is bound up in the
With
very basics of life. So
trying to
you
stay
ain't
alive.
writing, yeah, you ain't writing no books because you're chopping firewood because you ain't got no electricity. And that's how you keep warm in the winter.
And you're getting your own food.
Yep.
There was some squirrel hunting that went on that mountain and etc. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the way they did it. And I remember hearing their voices and stuff and how they sounded so different than folks who
Yeah.
are in
Yeah.
communication place all the time. They didn't have the same worries. So let me ask you, what are you making?
Oh, I am stripping another bunch of elderberries off the stems.
That what I'm okay, because I don't see any leaves right now.
No, I try to pull the leaves off and leave them under the under the bushes.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know, that doesn't really help. Let me get out the next one I get out.
I
I'll
see,
show
yeah.
you how it looks full of berries. It's medicine making time.
Boy, they're pretty good this year.
Yeah, it's not
Makes a
bad
big
this
ol-
year. It's not a great year, but it's a good year.
Well, that's I they still don't know if elderberries are the thing to do or not if you have this mast cell stuff. They still haven't figured it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all right.
There's not enough information.
Oh, they'll get it at some point. So I saw, speaking of, I saw a report, and I didn't read all the way through the report because I didn't need to. And it said, science has found, a study has found that humans age profoundly at these 2 points in their life. One is at age 44 and one is at age 60. Now, okay.
Oh,
I sort of disagree. I mean, how can you do that? How can you say it's age 44 when my metabolic rate, my aging rate is going to be different than yours and different
yeah.
than somebody else's? And so how do we know that 44 and 60 is that our bodies are going to go, okay, we had a birthday, now we got to get old. That's but but it's a good, I ought to clip that or put a link somewhere that I can get to it because it'd be a good way to go. Yeah, I'm 60. Don't bother me. See, I'm 60.
old.
All apart now.
I can't do that now. I can't do it. Well, I tell you, 60 was 60, the 60s have been good, but the 60s in the past 2 years, so for me that was 66, starting in 66. They were just, I realized that I couldn't do all the things I used to do. I just couldn't. I couldn't do 18-hour days for 2 or 3 weeks. I couldn't eat everything that I used to eat. I mean, even if I chose to eat the things that were going to jack my blood sugar or whatever else, I physically just couldn't eat them. I can't eat the way I used to eat. I can't drink the way I used to drink. It's bizarre.
I used to observe the old couples that would go get a meal and split it.
Yeah.
And that was, and I would think, man, how can they do that? Aren't they going to get a meal and take half of it home or something? And I do the same thing now.
Me too. All the time.
Yeah, I get it. I definitely get it. So
yeah, Joe used to always want to split things, and I'd be like, damn, no, son. I gotta have all the enchiladas. But now, we'll go someplace and I go, do you wanna have salads and then split the main meal? And he'll go, yeah, that's good. So things do change. And the big change for me, my friend, is I do not want to go camping on the ground anymore. And I did that my whole life because my back loves it. I love a firm mattress and my back doesn't mind sleeping on a floor or whatever. But and it's not the sleeping that's the problem. It's setting all the crap up. I don't want to set up camp.
I get that.
Isn't that awful?
Definitely.
Isn't that awful?
No, you've done it enough.
My buddies up at Wisteria, we were talking about a thing they're doing in October. And did I want to come up and do that? And I said, I'll come up if I can have the trailer and not have to camp. And they were like, oh, really? And that trailer is, I mean, because it's an old fashioned, like a 70s or 80s trailer, single wide trailer. But does it mean I don't have to bring up a whole camp? Hell yeah. And in the summer, it had air conditioning. So there's a bed in it, and a chair, a couple of chairs, and a table. Yeah, hell yeah.
Well, my buddy Gary was stationed in Germany and they camped the whole time, evidently. And he has told me with no hesitation that he never wants to camp again. He's had his fill. He's done it enough. Yeah. So I can see.
Yep.
If I could still camp the way that I used to camp with the truck tent.
Oh yeah, that would be easy.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, the car is not as conducive to it. And I don't know why that is. It could just be in my mind or anything. But I'd much rather truck camp And other than that, I don't really care. I'm like you though. I'm tired of being on the ground. I don't necessarily need that, although I like it sometimes. But
Well, and here's what I can't do. You know, I travel sometimes with my work husband, and he'll go, "No, I'll set it all up. I'm used to doing that," and I just can't let it go. I can't not help.
yeah,
And then I'll be exhausted, and I'm looking at an 8 hour drive home, and he'll go, "No, I'll break camp down. Don't you worry about it. You go do something else." I can't do it. I can't. So I have to help.
yeah.
It's crazy. I know it's crazy.
Well, they say there's a reason for stuff like that, for everything that you do or say, or don't do or say, and you don't want, for me, I don't want to take advantage of somebody. They're
No,
not
and
put on this earth to serve me. And
that's what
I
it
can
feels
find
like to
just on
me.
my own,
Yep.
and I don't want to get used to it. And it's not
No,
that I don't appreciate it, but I'm okay. And most of the time it's not an emergency. And if I need help, I'll ask for it.
yep.
I will every time. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
So anyway, for me, that was one of the, and I don't know if it's because I'm older, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of hauling a bunch of crap everywhere I go.
You're doing fine. Doing fine. You get to do that. You get to graduate out of ground camping after a while. Because you paid your dues.
I have to, God, have I paid my dues? Yes, ma'am.
Over and over again.
Yep. Well, and camping used to be a pleasure because all you were going to do is you were going to go to your camping place and you're going to have a cooler full of good drinks and food. You were going to cook probably 2 meals and then snack, sit in a chair, and you're going to talk to your friends and tell big stories and sing some songs and all that. Well, I don't get to do that anymore. The tent is where I sleep and get dressed to go and teach classes. So I never, especially in the summer, it's too hot. I'm always too hot. I'm sweaty. I see these women, mostly women, and they wear these beautiful gowns and fancy dresses and all this stuff. And I just think, God, if I could just waddle over to where I got to teach a class and not melt before I get there, that'll be good enough.
Well, I'm. It's not that bad, I don't think. But I get it. So,
Lordy.
I get so irritated when they change everything around all the damn time.
Yeah, why? Why do they do it?
I don't know. Just to annoy me, I think. So,
Oh, I don't think it's all about you, but it might be.
it's not all about me. What?
What a terrible
Don't
thing
blow
for
my
me to say to you. Oh no.
mind. Well, so what are you going to be cooking this for supper tonight?
I got some really pretty summer squash, yellow squash today.
Oh,
So I think I'm gonna slice that up and cook that with some fresh onions and maybe a little bit of garlic because I got plenty of garlic. And yeah, I don't know. I might give Joe some pasta. He's had rice for a couple of nights. He's not gonna want rice again.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it very much, except I want to really eat that because it's so beautiful and fresh and tender looking.
Oh,
Ooh,
the squash. Yeah,
yeah, I love squash. Oh,
I
and
do
I've also
too.
got peppers out of the garden, so it's gonna be the peppers, squash, and an onion, and then
Ah,
I'll put some with it. I don't know. I got a piece of steak today that I felt like I had to sneak it out of the meat department because it was so cheap. I thought they have marked this wrong somehow. Quick, put it in the buggy before
that's one of
anybody
those
sees it.
employee items, huh? That's what they
I
used to
know.
do. They
I
would
know.
have
I
they
know.
would back before there were barcodes and computerized inventory like that. They would just change the amount on the little, what do you call those price tags that would stick right on there?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. I never did that. I did not have the nerve to do that. I had some friends that worked at a grocery store, probably could have, but I don't know. I would have felt weird.
Yeah, I feel weird about stuff like that.
Now that looks from here, it looks
Yeah.
like you're trying to make a homemade wreath. That's what it looks like.
I bet
So,
you could though.
oh yeah,
No
I'm sure you
kidding. I
could.
bet you could make a wreath out of that.
Yeah. So this moon had
Oh
an
my Lord.
effect.
Ooh,
Tell me all about it.
it's a big one. Well, it's funny because it happened like 4 o'clock in the afternoon when it was full,
Yeah.
but ooh, it was a moon for letting stuff go.
Yep.
It was a moon for it wasn't a moon for manifestation, but I mean, I don't think full moons really are most of the time. But man, there were people who were like, "Nope, I'm never doing that again." Nope. Um, yeah, it was the sturgeon moon is what some tribal folks call it. I didn't track that to where it begins, but it just made me think about, sturgeons or who give us caviar, and it's
Yeah.
this big old powerful fish, but they have to kill the fish to get the eggs. They can't, it's not like chickens where they can just wait for the sturgeon to lay their eggs.
Not
I
like
just got to thinking about that, but it was powerful.
it's I enjoyed it, I'll tell you that.
How
And then
about for you?
well, it was powerful. It was. And I knew it was going to bring in, I knew some weather was going to change. And so I had that anticipation of that. And yeah, it was a
Uh-huh.
pretty powerful move. It didn't, sometimes they really affect my sleep, but it didn't appear to help my sleep.
Yeah, y'all, we were talking about that before we got started today, is that normally we both sleep real good during a full moon. Unlike a lot of people say they can't sleep, but I didn't sleep well with this one. But I had a
Yeah, I
lot
didn't
on my
either.
mind too.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot going on in the country, even just politically, not
Yeah.
counting everything else. Has politics kept you up?
No, it really hasn't, because there is a kind of that's going to sound crazy, but I guess I'm saying it as a weird mountain gal. So there's an inevitable feel to where we are right now. It feels
Mhm.
like we are on a conveyor belt and we are headed towards something,
Yeah,
and we will get there, and it will be what it will be, which
yeah,
sounds
and
very fatalistic because I'm really not fatalistic, but that sounds it, doesn't it?
it does, but yeah, it's also very accurate. You know, Gary, I talked about Gary today, I guess, but he kind of got on me a little bit because he faithfully listens to the podcast, and he and I also talk on the phone, you know, for years we have. And
Hey,
he's
Gary.
like, "Hey, Gary." Um, and the thing is sometimes I overthink it. And he knows,
Yeah.
he's seen enough time through the years, he's seen me overthink things. And he kind of warned me about that. You don't need to overthink it, because there's, you know, in addition to having huge consequences, it's also a fascinating look into American culture and our psyche. And so there's a part of me that is entertained by it as well, because hey, it's like live television, isn't it? I don't
Yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
I just take it in for a while, and the feeling that comes with it is not necessarily what you would think. For me, I quite often, when I'm looking at this breaking news and stuff, my thought is, this is history. I am
Yeah.
witnessing
Yeah.
history. And then my next thought is always, damn, I wish my kinfolk were alive. Different ones, you know, really used to get into politics, and we would talk politics. Oh man, I was definitely from a political family and had to learn how to defend my point of view a long time ago. Because they were very good debaters, and it's hard because they were all really smart. You know,
And
but
some of them were in politics too, right?
oh yeah, yeah. On both sides of my family, in different parties though. So
Ha
I had
ha ha.
one family of
Interesting.
Republicans, and I had one family of Democrats. And one of those families has moved moved more towards the libertarian.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I don't know where I am. I know I'm considered liberal, and I'm not ashamed to be registered as a Democrat, but it is not the same party that I registered with. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But that's the nice thing about the United States is I'm free to vote whichever way I want.
Yes, you are for
So,
now.
yeah, for now. So, and that was one of the things that they were saying on, maybe it was on night one. At this point, I can't remember, but they were saying this is not a battle. This is not an election between left and right. It's an election of good versus evil.
That kind of language makes me really uncomfortable.
That kind of language is, yeah.
That's
I guess
religious language. That's religious language.
well, it's a scare tactic.
It is
Even
a
if you
scare
believe
tactic.
it, you got to think about. So, see, we go back to that whole people getting manipulated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being told how to feel and what to think. And I've heard that same sentence being said on both sides.
Yes, because both sides consider that they are good and the other side is evil.
Right. So, yeah, we're at a strange point in time, the human race is anyway.
Yeah.
They
For
say,
sure.
they say that they say this, and I believe that there's some evidence to back it up, that we every so many years something happens and it basically wipes us out. And I've heard that all my life about, and remember when everybody was scared to death about the Mayan calendar? Remember that?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're saying, oh no, we had that wrong. And that's really still to come. And I can't remember when they called. I was talking to some new age person. Oh no, that was wrong. We were all wrong about that. It's going to come up again. And I thought, how different is that from the Christians to say, oh, it's the end times. It's coming in November. Oh, well, it didn't come, but maybe I had that wrong. It's really coming.
Like,
Okay,
I don't know.
maybe I had it wrong.
Yeah, the thing is, the Christians should know this. It's right in the Bible. It says, no man can know.
No man can know the hour.
So then, and I'm not making that up either. It's right there in that there Bible.
It is.
And for me, I think, well, that literally is something that I probably can't do anything about and shouldn't let it take up too much of my brain space. But I can, but I can do it. I can certainly think about that stupid crap, that's going to take up my brain space, and instead of putting it to good use somewhere. You want to know the useless, stupid thing I've been watching on TV this time around?
Oh no, what?
I see. I've got to where I tell you one thing every week that I've done, but it's a YouTube. So I started out watching people go into abandoned homes in the woods and just go through them and videotape what they found.
You turned me on to that.
Yeah, so that was really fascinating to me. I like to hunt things. I'm not animals, but I've always liked to hunt mushrooms and whatever. And this was no different, except that it was something you probably wouldn't eat the abandoned home, but it was fascinating. And I could almost there was a couple of videos where it just looked so familiar that I could almost smell the smells in it.
Yeah.
That musty smell of those old homes that have had too much moisture, too much.
Yeah. And dust and
and all of it. Yeah. So, and then from there, I went to the live camera views around the world, the random live cameras. So I might look at something in New Guinea and then look at something, some neighborhood in Canada or something, and I could, or I might look at a front desk at a hotel in Germany. And that was, you kind of roll the dice on that, and somewhere in the world, you'll be connected to a camera. Okay. And I got kind of fascinated by that. And then I liked watching, Have you heard of Where's George or Hello George? I can't remember. I think it's Where's George. There was this kind of a fad where people would take a real dollar bill with George Washington and they would write this
George.
phrase on it. And then you would go there and they would log, if they got one of those bills, they would log in that they got it on this date at this location. And
Oh,
then
that's fun.
they'd spend it as usual. And people would log in and you could watch the dollar bill travel.
Ooh.
So, that was kind of interesting. And then, gosh, what else have I looked at? I looked at tin flipping. That's my one that I've been on lately.
Oh,
Tin
that's
flipping.
interesting. Yeah.
It's where they, you get out out in the backwoods and out on the edges of fields and stuff, and people might have some old shingles from a roof and a stack of plywood and maybe the what do you call it, the hood of a car might be around, and it's mostly buried in the halfway buried, and they go out in pairs and they'll take a hoe with them, and not like a hoe like a Trixie hoe, a hoe like a farmer's instrument,
Uh-huh.
a gardening tool, and they'll take this hoe and they'll just flip this stuff over, and then they'll find snakes. They're snake
Oh,
hunting.
oh,
And so
neat.
yeah, it's fascinating because most people, if you unexpectedly see two copperheads, you go, snake or copperhead, and you have a anxious voice. But when they do it, they're like, yeah, they love it. And
Wow.
they'll look at them and they'll take their photos of them and their video. And then depending on the temperament of the snake, they might take their stick and let it twirl around the stick so they can talk about the snake while it's doing that on the camera.
Yeah.
So you learn about things. Like I've learned a lot from those channels and mostly what I learned is that looks are definitely deceiving when it comes to size, because a lot of these snakes that I've never seen with my real eyes before, only seen them in photographs, and they look huge. But really, these snakes are small. They might be really small, like you get it in context there when you see it on a video. But so they do, that's called tin flipping.
Huh.
And they'll find rats and other rodents and whatever, and they'll just go grab a snake. If it's not venomous, they'll just go pick it up. And they do everything wrong. They go out in this underbrush and stuff, and they're not wearing any kind of special equipment. I can't tell you how wrong that feels if they're snake hunting for rattlesnakes, which they always want rattlesnakes, and to not have on at least some boots. Yeah.
I tell you, rattlesnakes, I mean, copperheads are pretty too, but rattlesnakes are beautiful snakes.
Oh, they have so many species.
Yeah.
And they are all beautiful. And copperheads are beautiful too, but the timber rattler is probably the prettiest one, I think. Anyway,
it's just so muscular.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think they're beautiful. I don't want to walk up on top of one unexpectedly. Let me be clear about that. But I do like them a lot.
I'm fascinated by cottonmouths.
I've been fascinated lately in my secret video viewing with mudlarkers, people that go along rivers, the banks of rivers, where it's like a beach sort of bank on the river, and what they find. And it's mostly, I follow a couple of people that mostly do that on the Thames in and around London.
Oh, wow.
And it's just fascinating, the stuff that they find. And then they go home with it and they track it down to see what it is. But they find a lot of those clay pipes from the 17th, 18th century.
Oh, wow.
It's neat, and little shards of pottery.
They know their stuff. I saw a guy who he digs whenever he hears about an outhouse. from 150 years ago, he'll go look for the outhouse. And he does
And
it knowing that people back then would throw out pottery and all kinds of stuff into the outhouse hole.
Yeah.
And I forget why they did it, but I do know that it happened. And because it was very common, if you came across an outhouse in the woods or something, you'd see little bits of maybe snuff can or whatever. Well, he'll go and he'll dig those, and he'll come out of it, and there are all these beautiful little medicine bottles that are maybe marigold or the carnival glass looking. And
Yeah.
he'll tell you then, he'll say, well, this is 1857. It was blah, 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 blah. And there'll be a picture that pops up on the screen that shows you that. And so you can really learn from it. But damn, the stuff that they find. And I already told you about the magnet fishermen.
Yeah.
Magnet
Yeah.
fishing. And you can get on one of those websites where you buy stuff, and you can get a kit for magnet fishing for $30.
Wow.
And it has a super strong magnet, and it's got the kind of rope that you need that will be super strong and connected to it. And it's got like a little bag to put stuff in, and even with the metal detectors, they have little kits. So it's like you have the big metal detector, and it'll come with some sort of headphones, and you have to then these people who do it professionally will have a wand, and that's what it is. It's just a wand, and it's what they call a pinpoint metal detector. So if they grab a scoop of sand and it's going off and it's at like 80, which is a interesting number for it to be going off at, or tone, I should say, because it would indicate silver, real silver. They're looking for something, they can't find it. They've got it in their scoop. They get that little pinpoint thing, and they can find it that way. It's crazy. And half of the time they find trash. And so the kit will come with a little bag for them to put the trash in, and they clean up the beach at the same time. They find a lot of can top tabs and stuff like that. But sometimes they find things like real gold, old coins, new coins, diamonds. I've seen all kinds of stuff that they find. And the tin fishermen, they usually fish these rivers, and they'll go to a bridge. Not tin fishermen, the magnet fishermen. They'll go to a bridge, they'll drop the magnet down. Some of them have a GoPro camera hooked up so that they can kind of see what's going on. And they'll find guns, knives, cars with bodies in them.
Wow.
But I saw a couple of father and a son who were in England somewhere, I believe, and they found a safe with money in it.
Wow.
I know. And it's just some of these things that people hunt for is so fascinating. But it's like, here's another time waster. Here's another time waster. But I can tell you a lot about shit I'll never do. Like, I'll probably never go out and flip tin. Like, can you imagine me out there trying to be a tin flipper? I'd have to put my hair up and be in like an armored outfit.
It's true.
So,
It's fun to watch that stuff, though. Sometimes I like there's cat and dog videos, and I love cats and I love dogs, but I get bored sometimes with the videos. It's like,
yeah,
okay. I guess that's all right.
I love the cat and dog videos. And I've got an Earth Critters page where I get a lot of cat and dog things. But yeah. Have you watched any of the documentaries that have started to show up on YouTube? I've watched a lot of the ocean ones.
Ever since I was in love with Jacques Cousteau when I was 12 years old.
You too.
I loved, oh my God, of course. And then his son, it was like, oh, he's pretty good too.
The one
I love
on
that
the
stuff.
show with him wasn't his son, was it?
No, but he has a son or had a son. I think he's still alive, probably. Not Jacques Cousteau isn't, but the son was.
I love that show.
I love And you reckon it's because we are mountain people that we love the ocean? It just
Yeah.
seems so foreign
Mhm.
and exotic.
And fascinating. It's
Yeah.
fascinating. That the metal detector that goes in the beach to the beaches and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I thought, what a healthy, good hobby that would be. Because
Yes,
you're
because you do a lot of walking.
Yep. Now this guy, he doesn't keep his stuff. If somebody has lost something, they can call him, and if he's near that beach, he'll go find it for him, and he never keeps it or wants money.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah,
nice.
and he cleans the beach up, and he cleans up after himself. And I think that would be such a good kind of way to make a living. What he really gets his money from, well, he gets an occasional find that he can sell if he wants to and make money from it. But he's making money on the YouTube part of it, the commercials and he's got,
Oh,
few million followers.
yeah,
And when
good
you
for
get to that
him.
place, you start making money if you're especially if you've got your advertising connected correctly. It's kind of complicated, but still
Yeah.
it can. So he's making a living doing it and getting to be
Wow.
healthy and outside in the weather and just go to all these beaches. That's what he does. He just goes from whatever beach today, and
Wow.
sometimes he'll have somebody with him and sometimes he won't. He's an extremely polite young man, the one that I'm talking about. His handle, I guess you'd call his profile ID on YouTube is Detect Florida. Two separate
Oh,
words. Yeah. And but he's gone up to Myrtle Beach before and all that stuff. And I really admire the folks there that like these herpetologists that are tin flipping because
yeah.
they do their best to teach people on their show. Don't This is how you do it. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. We're going to put this back. We're not going to
Yeah.
get around this guy. These have a bad attitude sometimes. These are usually docile. And but they also do things that I think are stupid, like they'll let a snake chew on them. And some of these, like these black racers, that they just pick him
Yeah.
up real fast and it gets the snake startled. And the snake will just be, chowing down on their arm. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I appreciate that you just go, hey man, why are you mad at me? And then this, they don't do anything to make it stop. And I appreciate that they're not mean to the snake, but
Yes.
damn, I mean, I don't think
Well,
that we were made to be those people or I know I wasn't.
well, and even if the snake is non-venomous, a snake bite can set you up a nice fat infection.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Who knows? They live on rodents and things in the wild, and
Yeah.
that bacteria and that you never know. But they also eat all of these poisonous mushrooms, and I mean, you just never know. And so I wouldn't be all comfortable with letting that happen. I'll tell you that. Um,
No.
and the other thing that I've been looking at sometimes is them acrylic painting. These
Well, because you
acrylic,
do that.
well, the paint pours. Have you ever? Yeah, I do like paint pours. And I'll see these people that will have instructions on how to make a certain type of a paint pour, and it is fascinating. Damn, people are so
Wow.
talented. So me and you need a cooking show.
Well, maybe when we do our cookbook and that comes out, we'll commit to 6 months of a cooking show. That'd be fun.
Well, yeah, it would be.
It
Off the
would.
sudden, it would, and I would love that. I would love that. And we could make up
Mountain
recipes,
style.
real mountain style, not the
Yes.
sugar cornbread kind. I
There
mean,
was some English person talking about leather breeches, and they were saying, now those are not trousers made of leather. They are, oh, it was Thistle and Shamrock, and it was Fiona. And she was saying it was about, I think, an album called Leather Breeches. And she said, now those are not trousers made of leather. Those are pea pods that are dried by being strung together. And I just thought,
Pea pods.
oh, how fun, pea pods. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're kind of pea pods, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Do you know
I'll
there's
cut that
not
out.
a little there's not a little thing up, a little icon up in the corner that says we're recording. Isn't that interesting?
It's crazy how they've
It
changed
is.
everything. It's just whatever.
Well,
I'm
and
over it.
just use whatever you can use. And y'all, we had a conversation that we thought we weren't recording, and then we were actually recording it. So it will either be in and you will know the intimate details of the Weird Mountain Gal's latest project, or you won't, because Alicia
I'm-
will have taken care of all that.
Oh, it's
Well,
going to be
I am,
edited. It'll be
it's going to be
edited.
edited out, eh? Well, I am going to go and cut up these peppers and some of this delicious onion and get some supper ready, because it's
Okay.
getting late.
It actually is. I'm going to start doing a little housework.
I thought you were
So-
going to take a nap. Last I heard, you were going to take a nap.
Yeah, but I feel I came out of that whatever you call it, that afternoon
lethargy.
dip.
You got out of your
Yeah.
afternoon lethargy.
Yes, and I feel like a human again. So now that we're going to hang up, I'm going to get all this energy, I'm sure.
I know. And I was just thinking, what they also don't know is that you and I were scheduled to do this at 1 o'clock. And at 12:45, I realized I was double booked. I was doing another podcast at 1 o'clock. So I'm like podcasted out.
You're
like,
in demand. Well,
Can I do
listen,
another? Could somebody do a podcast at 7 o'clock? Hey, that'd be great. Oh, man. I just got to
They
get used
would.
to it, because with this new book coming out starting in November, I'm going to be trolling all the podcasts and saying, couldn't I just come talk about my new book?
And everybody's going to say, yeah, come on.
I-
If they're
I'm-
smart.
Well, some of them will be smart and some of them will be too busy. They'll be like, oh, I ain't got time for you, lady.
Hey, do you realize that if our project comes to be in November,
Yeah.
which do you know how close that's going to put us to somebody? Maybe somebody whose last name rhymes with farting.
I don't even know what the hell you were talking about.
Really? The thing in November at Gatlinburg?
Oh, did you find out about it?
I'm waiting for him to call me back. I left him a message.
Okay.
So they've
And
probably called right now, but that'll put us within about 4 miles of Dollywood. So
oh, I see what you're saying. Golly bum. So I think if that all works, and y'all, if it works, we're going to tell you all about it, that we should also do Dollywood. We'll get a hotel and we'll do Dollywood, and we can go see your nephew and ride the train so he can take us on the train. And then I'm gonna pump Stella, and I'm gonna pump the cousin. You know, we know somebody that's her cousin. I'm gonna say we are gonna be there this day. And if there's any way possible, we can have our picture made with Doc Parton. Oh my gosh. I'm all excited.
well, and you know what else we ought to do? Because of the
What?
location, we ought to make it a weirdling meetup. If they
Oh
want to
yeah,
come,
no, that'd be great. Yeah.
we can all meet each other up. Isn't that what you do
Yeah.
to meet up?
Meet up. We meet up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and
So-
yeah, y'all, this is another scheme. You know, we always got some damn scheme going on. That it looks like it might work for us. We'll see.
We'll see. Fingers crossed. Well, listen, I know you're going to have a good supper. I'm not
I
sure
am.
about
I'm
mine.
hungry for it.
I have not had a big appetite, but I think I'm either going to make breakfast for supper.
Oh,
Probably.
good.
I'm going to bake some gingerbread too, because I haven't had
Are
any.
you really? Oh,
Yep.
I love gingerbread. Friend of mine's got her, I think, great grandmother or grandmother's gingerbread, old German gingerbread recipe. Man, that stuff is so good. It is dark and sour and yummy.
Oh, I would
The
love
best.
to see that recipe because mine
Oh,
tastes like American
she won't
gingerbread.
share it. she won't share it.
What do you put with your gingerbread? Anything? Like,
I
do
like
you put?
sometimes a custard sauce or just some whipped cream. Ice
Uh,
cream, but I don't really eat ice cream.
I
Yeah.
put applesauce. It's what
Oh, that'd
we
be
always
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
gingerbread and applesauce. Yeah, it
that's why
feels
I was
very old
thinking about it.
fashioned, doesn't it? So that can be in the cookbook.
Yep. Let's make that. Yeah. Okay. That's a good
Yeah,
one. All right. Well, I'm gonna go. I got a bunch of work now to do.
I know. Now you're all excited and get your work done. All right, I'm gonna go cook this stuff, and I'll see you, and we'll see y'all, you weirdos. We'll see y'all next time here on the Harmony Rant.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Bye now.
Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Weird Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have, so I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.